A spirited comeback, a spirited fight, good demonstration of the mentality that we possess in the team, and of course not easy to start the match and immediately be on the back foot, particularly when we know what challenge lies ahead of us in relation to being the team that's got a target on its back, and we know that a lot of the teams that we will face already this season in 4 matches, maybe all 4 matches in certain moments had teams that reinforced their defensive block and sat in and around their defensive third and looking to play on a counter-attack. So, okay, of course, when they had the 1-0, they had all the right to do that, and their organizational forms were very good. But we were in control all the time, and we had a lot of possession. I mean, I think for the first time ever, I see 93% ball possession, and then when you have that as an indicator, you are clear in saying there is light at the end of the tunnel. We just have to continue to trust in the process and continue to work on the ideas that we have, and at the same time, while we're working on those ideas, try to make sure that we work in one direction and we pull everybody together with us, and that's the most important thing, is to keep the spirit high, the confidence in a good position, and even in difficult circumstances where we play against very good opposition like tonight or this afternoon, and also at the same time difficult conditions. But a spirited fight back, and compliments to the players for demonstrating their commitment and their desire to see the team move closer to the final. Yeah, it's very difficult. There are 2 very difficult things to play against in football. The first one is, of course, a reinforced defensive block. That's the hardest thing in football. There's still seminars and webinars and even coaching courses, workshops that are dealing with the topic of how do you unlock a reinforced defensive block. That is still something that is a tactical topic that still needs even the greatest of minds to be able to come up with these solutions. But we tried everything, wide penetration, we tried having depth to try to pin the centre backs and create a little bit more movement in a space in between the lines, and then that space for combination play, for shots from distance, and we saw one from River, we saw one from Clermont. The wing play to stretch the defensive block and try and create gaps horizontally between fullbacks and centre backs. But this is the work that we have to continue to do. We have to continue to work and try to get it right and find the solutions. But you can't find solutions for the conditions. The pitch was not at its best today, made it very difficult. The rain, the cold was around 6-7 degrees Celsius. But of course, those are factors that contribute to performance. But we are professional. We are Sundowns. We are strong. We have to get over these things and fight, and that's what we did today. And so compliments once again to the players for a very very brave outing today, and a lot of commitment, and the fight back was very very good, and that's what we needed. We needed the mental fortitude of champions, and the players demonstrated that. Yeah, we've still very difficult. Even preparing for this match, when we were sitting with him, we're going through video analysis of golden arrows and also his own corrections with the last performance. Of course, there's a lot of room to improve, and this is for the team holistically. We know that we may have drawn the match, we may have shown a good fighting spirit and the desire to come back after being 1-0 down against an organized team with a very good defensive structure. and then possibilities, of course, to hit you on the counter-attack. But we did well, and in that moment, still understanding clearly that we've got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of areas that we feel we can still improve, and offensively is one of them. And one of the key factors for offensive adaptation is time. It's easier to play a little bit more, less detailed, to go more route one, to load balls into the final third from wide areas, from centre backs, and try and go for percentage football, because it needs less telepathy and cohesion. But when we try to play the way we try to play, with the positional game that we try to implement, and some of the movements that we try to have within our schemes and the patterns, it becomes very, very difficult. So even for Pavol, he needs a little bit of time to adapt and adapt to our way of playing, our schemes and the patterns. But good, I think with the goal that he scored today, coming on as a sub, showing hunger and desire, his attitude has always been is proper, and we believe in him. We know he's a top striker. We know he's got very good attributes that can help us this season, and but we still advocate for time, and he needs time to adapt to our way of playing, so that there's a lot more fluidity. But it will come. It needs more and more repetition. But we are clear in our minds that he's the right striker to complement Clermont, to complement Peter, to complement Gift, and maybe even your Villas and your Kutumelas coming from deeper positions. And once you can have that, you then integrate your Tembazwanes when they come back, and your Caston Serinos, because they are very important for us. They are very important players for us, and then we work on those combinations, and hopefully then the fluidity comes right, and then of course then the impact will be greater. Look, the partnership of Rasheen and Grant Kekana looks to be growing and improving. Of course, in the absence of both Ricardo and Musa, Rasheen has stabilized very well on the left side of our defensive line. And it's not easy, I know a lot of us, we look at whether we've conceded or not, whether we concede chances or not. But the reality is we've got so much more to our centre halves than just defending. It's they have to be involved in the play. They have to try to drive the attack and project the ball into certain areas, depending on where we feel we can create certain overloads and identify certain weaknesses, and they've got such a huge role to play as offensive influencers in our build-up schemes. But they've stabilized themselves, and it's not easy. When you have 93% ball possession, it then says how well you were in your rest defense and your abilities to stabilize transitions, to stabilize long balls from the opposition, and that becomes their primary job. And then, of course, the bravery to play with 30-40 yards behind you, and that's what they've accepted. They've accepted the risk of playing for a big team and having a high line, so that we can keep the pressure on the opposition, and that was important for us, and particularly in the second half, where we didn't want our players to move far away, or our offensive players to move far away from the goal. But to do that, you need to stabilize the ball quickly and regain, and that means you've got to anticipate and position even way before the turnover takes place. So again, good performance from Grant, good performance from Rasheen. The partnership is good, but we could say the same about a lot of our players, and it gives us a good basis to build on. Yeah, Kutumela will still improve. I think he's shown glimpses today of what type of player he is. He's brave, he's direct, he's versatile and extremely multifunctional. He's a player that loves the half space. He loves positioning himself in between the lines. He that's his natural habitat, and we create those scenarios for him, and until we start having more trust and confidence when he shows up in those positions, so that we can give him more of the ball, and we can give him the responsibility also to influence the game, and that will come. We have to be a little bit patient with him, give him also a chance to adapt and settle. But Kutumela is a top football player. He had a fantastic season last season at Maritzburg. He's one of the first players to be called up on the team sheet for Bafana whenever there's a fixture, because of the stature he's really grown into, and it's good. But we're hoping for more. And as we say, at this moment, it's just about keeping our feet on the ground. We are happy with where we are, because even where we are speaks and says to us there's still a lot of work to do. And when there's a lot of work to do, it's good for us, because it doesn't create any room for complacency, and that's what we need after a very difficult season where we only lost one match in the domestic league. We know how difficult this season is going to be, and already the signs are there, and that is why we've got to be very systematic. We've got to make sure that we are working towards building a very strong side, because everybody wants to beat us, so it's important that we trust the process, and we move in a very systematic way that allows us to have confidence in our ideas, and confidence in our game model and how we want to play. So it's still work in progress, but very good signs, and I don't know, 93% ball possession. I don't know what's the feeling. The feeling is a slight happiness in relation to seeing the signs and the light at the end of the tunnel, that even when we were 1-0 down, we never reverted to a personality of a team that we don't know. We still tried to play and tried to keep our identity, to knock and push, and we pushed them onto the back foot, and we deserved the goal. But maybe with 93%, you need a little bit more than just to score one goal, and that is maybe the biggest takeout from today's match is dominate, but dominate to kill, and not dominate to create competition.
Thank you, Coach Rulani.
Thank you so much.